All right, so some examples. Solve each equation using the zero factor property. So number 16, 2x squared minus x minus 15 equals 0.
Cold. Very cold right now. Uh-oh.
So to use the zero factor property, we need to factor first, and then we're going to set each piece equal to 0. So what does this factor into? Or how do I go about factoring this?
I'm going to be completely honest. I have no idea.
So 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. So I need factors of negative 30 that give you negative 1. 5 and negative 6. So I'm going to put this negative 6 with the 2 and the 5 with the 15. So 2x squared minus 6x plus 5x minus 15. And just don't forget that it's still equal to 0. So then take stuff out. Take out a 2x. Leaves you with x minus 3. Take out a 5. Leaves you with x minus 3. So then we have 2x plus 5 times x minus 3 equals 0. So then the zero factor property, we have to take each piece and set it equal to 0 and solve. So 2x plus 5 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. So then 2x equals negative 5, or x equals negative 5 halves, or x equals 3. I don't know if this one is just one other school or if this is like an invitational where there's like 5 or 6 schools.
Because that would make sense why he's doing GAVE. There's more than one, but
We've never done GAVE for cross country, I don't think. I don't know. All right, 22. 9x squared minus 12x plus 4 equals 0. The same instructions.
So, we 36.
So I need factors of 36 that give you negative 12.
Negative 9, negative 4.
Would be 13.
That's embarrassing. I don't know, 6 minus 6.
Negative 6 and negative 6.
That was
9x squared minus 6x minus 6x plus 4 equals 0. So then I just need to take stuff out. I can take a 3x out of the first ones. So 3x times 3x minus 2. Take out a negative 2. 3x minus 2. So then, oh, well, this is nice. Oh, huh. Could have paid attention early enough. This is a perfect square trinomial, but oh well. 3x minus 2, and it's going to end up being squared because that's what both of them are going to be, is equal to 0. Take the square root of both sides. So 3x minus 2 equals 0. 3x equals 2. X equals 2 over 3. All right. Next one. Solve each equation using the square root property. So basically, once we got to right here, we used the square root property to solve it. So that's more or less what we're about to do. So 34 we've got x minus 4 squared equals -5. So what do I need to do first?
Set equal to 0.
I'm using the square root property now. Don't want to solve for x.
You expand that.
Wouldn't you take the square root of it?
Take the square root of both sides. So that gives me x minus 4 equals what?
The square root of 5. Wait a minute.
Square root of -5.
What does the square root property say?
It's equal to x. Wait.
How many solutions do I have for
Two.
square root?
2.
2. So it's going to be plus or minus the square root of -5. Now what?
I got an I.
Take out an I and what else? I can do it all in one step. Like what else needs to be done to get x by itself?
Add it to the left. Or-
So x is going to be equal to 4 plus or minus I square root of 5.
That's what I correct.
So remember, square root problems always have 2 answers. Okay, the only reason this one didn't was because it was 0, so you don't have plus or minus 0. That's the only reason the one above it, when we did the square root, didn't have 2. Alright, solve each equation using completing the square. So 38. X squared minus 7x plus 12 equals 0. So what do I need to do first?
Plug into the quadratic formula.
I said complete the square.
Keep changing directions. Isn't this where you use the perfect square trinomial?
Divide each side by a. So
I said to do that if it's not one.
hard.
Aren't you like trying to figure out what adds up to be x?
Nope.
So you're not going to have 4 terms.
Nope.
Wait, so
Oh, it's like something over 2. B over A or B over 2. Am I on the right track? Don't you like add something to it? Add a.
Attention, attention. Will the 10th graders come to the Bruin for photos? 10th graders, please come to the Bruin for photos.
I know, I was like, where are you going, buddy?
I really need
why
to
is she yelling? I thought we were going on lockdown or something the way she said it.
I need to brush
Okay,
my
well,
teeth.
step 1 we've already taken care of.
You need to add a box.
Step 1's done because it already has a 1 in front. Step 2 says to move the constant term to be by itself. Have we done that yet?
No.
No, so I
move
need to
12
do
the
that.
left. I mean right.
So, x squared minus 7x equals -12.
And then you need to add a box.
Okay, step 3 says to add a box to each side, then half the middle term and square it. So,
Half the middle term and square it.
plus box, plus box.
7 over 2.
Okay, and it's getting squared. So 7 over 2, and that value's getting squared. And over here, I usually leave it written this way on the left side, and then on the right side, I will actually go ahead and square it. So that's going to be 49 over 4. Okay, because what does this side give me? What does step 4 say?
Step 4.
Factor is a perfect square trinomial. Combine like terms.
So perfect square trinomial would say that this side factors into what?
X. Is it minus 7 squared? Plus 7 squared? Plus
7 over 2.
2 squared? Something like that?
x minus 7 over 2, then the whole thing squared. That's what a perfect square trinomial is equal to, what is this equal to on the right?
12.
Do I have to make it have a common denominator?
Yep.
So it's going to be, so if you need a 4 on the bottom, you need to multiply 12 by 4. So
48
48
over 12. Remember,
over 4.
I got the 12.
So
Make sure you keep the negative sign with it.
it's going to be 1/4.
So this is equal to 1 over 4. Now what?
I don't know. What's the goal here? To get x by itself?
Square root
So that gives me what?
x minus 7 over 2 equals
Is it plus or minus the square root of 1/4?
yeah.
Okay, so then you need to add plus 7 over 2 to the right. X is equal to plus
What's-
or minus.
And what's the square root of 1/4?
1/16.
You squared it. Square root it.
1/2.
1/2. So then we have, because it's plus or minus, we're going to have two separate answers. So x equals 7 over 2 plus 1/2, or x equals 7 over 2 minus 1/2.
That was a little rusty.
So x equals 8 over 2, which is x equals 4. Or over here, x equals 6 over 2, or x equals 3.
See, we know how to do it. We just hadn't done it in a long time. So just need a little refresher.
Yeah, it's
Okay, then I want you to try this next one by yourself then.
Well, are you doing this because Hope said we just needed a little refresher?
No, I was going to do this anyways.
Okay.
All right.
Step 1 and 2 already done, guys.
Do it on your own.
Boss. Ooh.
Are you sure step 1 and 2 are already done, Hope?
Darn it, Hope.
I'm not sure. When I looked back, I realized step 1 was not even close to done. It's a great time.
So remember, with that step 1, just because it's different, okay? When you do it, you have to divide everything by that. So this becomes
We're doing
2/3 x.
fractions?
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. What's going on? There we go. Okay.
Okay, now you can proceed.
This is horrible.
I have. I don't understand.
Did you get it?
I got it, but I
Ethan,
don't.
did you get it?
Okay, so I got it, but like the very last step where you like add them together, I don't know.
Okay. So
Something is wrong. Yeah, I did not get that. I did not get that at all.
okay, so we started with, we had to divide by 3 all the way across. Okay. Then that gave us x squared plus 2/3 x equals 5/3. Okay, that's what it gave us. Then we needed to add the box to both sides. Okay, I just wrote it all at the same time just to eliminate 18 extra steps. You half the middle term. So that's multiplying it by 1/2. So the 2's canceled, giving you 1/3. And then you square it. Over here, you do the same
Half
thing.
the middle term. That's what I didn't do. I just kept the middle term the same. Went from there. Gosh dang it.
So half the middle term and square it. So this gives you 1/9. Okay, on this side. So then perfect square trinomial is x plus 1/3. All that squared is equal to, after getting a common denominator, this is equal to 16/9. Got to take the square root of both sides. Gives you plus or minus. So x plus 1/3 equals plus or minus the square root of 16/9. Both of those happen to be perfect squares. So in the next step, I can reduce it. Rewrite it as 4/3, and I subtracted the 1/3 from the left and moved it over to the right. Then I split it, x minus 1/3, or x equals negative 1/3 plus 4/3, or x equals negative 1/3 minus 4/3. And then putting it all together, get x equals 1 or x equals negative 5/3.
Okay, that definitely makes sense, but I accidentally didn't half it, so then I had 19/9 in the radical, so I was like, something's not right, because
It should look pretty when you're done.
if say that would have been what was in it, like 19/9, would you just like not simplify it, or would you have taken
You would
the
have
square root of the bottom?
written it as the square root of 19/3. But it still would have been plus or minus.
I know what I'm doing now.
And then you wouldn't have been able to like add the terms together at the
Correct.
end.
So just when I had a radical answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as the radical's only in the top, it would have been fine. Radical just can't be in the bottom.
Okay, that makes sense.
I know
understand.
what I'm doing. I know how to do it now.
Yeah, I do too.
I needed that second post.
I don't think we're going before lunch.
I think they're gonna call juniors and seniors all at the same time, so that they have you over there to do it.
Can I go? Are we done? Are we done now? Because I really have to pee. Can I use my request? Or is it just like one more example?
There's 4 more.
Okay.
The next one is just quadratic formula. So if you're comfortable with the quadratic formula, then you could go now. I'm just doing one of the quadratic formula ones because for pressure. All right, 58, quadratic formula. Negative 6x squared equals 3x plus 2. So what do I need to do first in order to be able to use the quadratic formula?
Move the 6 over.
Yeah, everything on one side, so it's got to be equal to 0. So 0 equals 6x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now tell me what to plug into the quadratic formula.
It would be -3 plus or minus square root of 3 squared.
Attention. Will the 11th graders please come to the Bruin? 11th graders, please come to the Bruin for photos. Thank you.
I'm just going to stop there and we'll pick that up tomorrow.